podcast comes to you with thanks to our friends at Trafalgar Square Finance, leading independent specialists in mortgages and all types of property finance. Whether it's buy-to-let, development or bridging finance, Trafalgar Square can help you organise your funding for your next property project. Exclusively to listeners of Your Property Podcast, Trafalgar Square offer a free one-to-one consultation. So whether you are a portfolio landlord looking to raise funds on your existing portfolio, or if you're just starting out and want to find out if you are eligible for a buy-to-let mortgage, Trafalgar Square Finance can help. It's easy to book with one of their experienced consultants by simply visiting yourpropertynetwork.co.uk/finance. You can find this link in the show notes for more details. Hello and welcome to Your Property Podcast. My name is Michelle Cairns and today we have got with us Tom Muir. Hi Tom.
Hi Michelle, you okay?
Yes, very good, thank you. Thanks for joining us. I badgered you at the pin dinner and I said, right, you need to be on the podcast. I haven't spoken to you for ages. Sometimes it's a good opportunity to catch up with people on these podcasts and see what people are doing. So thank you for accepting.
Okay.
Well, our journey started back quite a few years ago now. We were both volunteering at the Liverpool PIN meeting back in the day, and you were doing the mastermind course and really killing it at Rent to Rent back then, weren't you?
Yeah.
And you've come a long way since then. So tell us how you got on with your Rent to Rents. Let's start there.
Yeah, so I think you're back in 2016 there. I think that's when that was. That was 6 years ago. So going along to the PIN meetings. So I'd started going to the PIN meetings in 2009, but then stopped. So and then come back. So it was about that time. And we were doing Rent to Rent. So we went on we done a couple of courses, and then we joined the property masterminds in full. I think that was April 2017 to April 2018, and we done quite well. We learned a lot. I think we ended up with about 150 units at the end of
150. Wow.
12 months, and we took a lot on. It was always a means to get started in property properly. I'd bought a couple of buy-to-lets when I was a bit younger. I was like 19, 20. But it was the first sign of sort of giving it a go and trying to go quite big. Really, that was what we were trying to do with the Rent to Rent. And,
I bet that feels like 20 years ago now, like a long time ago. All that the Rent to Rent
it does. Yeah, I've aged quite a bit in 6 years.
Well, you changed strategy quite dramatically, and you've gone into developments now. So what was it about the developments that kind of appealed to you? Why did you transition?
Yeah, it was all the big bit in the middle of that between the Rent to Rent and the developments was my old residential portfolio. That's always been my goal, and still is. It's still my main focus and end goal. The Rent to Rent was a journey to sort of get us a bit more involved in property, get us in the industry, learn about letting on a large scale. Even from when I was younger, when we bought one or two, I've always wanted loads of property, but obviously I didn't have the money or the know how to do it. So in between, not finishing up doing Rent to Rent, we got the Rent to Rent business going. It was turning over decent money. We were bringing staff in, which was my first eye opener into recruitment, which is a very difficult subject. I still struggle with it today. And and then we moved on to the portfolio. We built our own residential portfolio to a similar size, and then sort of started letting the Rent to Rents go. But the big thing for the development was the capital, was the chunks of money at the end.
Yeah.
That was the big thing. But I think going through the PIN community as well, I think Simon always says early on, development's great, but you need a cash flow basis in place to be able to do it properly, and that's so
yeah. And so it's just a different step change, isn't it, from going from focusing on that monthly income every month, paying the bills, having, the surplus to have the lifestyle you want, and then actually, looking at, as you say, the chunks of money through developments that you could be working for anything from 9 months to 18 months for a project or longer, to get that big chunk of money. But at the end, it's going to be more than obviously what you would have been earning every month just doing single lets or something. So, and the difference is obviously you get to own the ones that you choose. Have you chosen to keep any of the developments buy to hold, or have you been flipping them on?
So the aim at the minute has always been to sell them on, and we now work with a couple of sort of funds direct to buy whole blocks from us. But as accidentally, I've actually ended up keeping one out of most developments. You usually, the last unit, that the reality is that, the last unit that sticks, and then you're in a decision, okay, we'll do a sit on the open market for a few months, and then wait to go through the sales process, which, as you know, can be quite laborious. So we just end up going, right, okay, we need certainty, we'll keep one or we'll keep two. So not on purpose, but over all the developments, we normally kept one or two, but now it is a bit different. To say, we've got people buying whole blocks off us. So we sold 18 units. That was all sold off in one. Got another one with 14 units where it's just one buyer. And that's where we want to go to. It's a lot more certainty.
And you say 14 units. Are they all blocks of flats?
Yeah, blocks. Yeah.
Just blocks, yeah. Okay, and that's ideal, obviously, if someone can come in and just buy the freehold.
Yes, yeah. There's a big appetite for it still.
Do you build? Are these conversions, or are they all new build?
Yeah, so mainly conversions with large sort of extended footprints. That's our model. We have got a new build site starting in January too.
Okay. And with the blocks then of flats, and you're converting them, do you split the titles and try and achieve a higher value through splitting them all, or does it not really make that much difference to the end of the day?
It depends who's buying them. So if one person's buying them, they tend to want to buy the freehold. When we've done College Avenue, that was individual owner occupier buyers, so the leasehold was split on each one. But my preference at the moment is just to sell to one buyer, less headache.
Yeah.
Get the deal done and get it gone.
And do you buy properties where they are already split into flats and you're just kind of developing the existing flat, or do you gut the place back to brick and then start from scratch?
We'll remodel. So I've just done a remodeling job.
Okay.
Trying to achieve the best footprint for the building.
Yeah.
We would buy just apartments, yeah, we would do. The numbers at the end of the day. Yeah,
because the cost of as I understand it, the cost of actually converting, let's say, a family home, even if the footprint is there, the size of the building, you could, add floors or, reconfigure the place. Actually getting the utilities in to create flats is just where the biggest cost is. Is that right?
Loads of hidden costs, yeah. Service is one of them. Service is one of them. Obviously, cost of materials over the last 18 months. In some instances, doubled, tripled prices of individual materials, timber, steel. So yeah, there's loads of different hidden costs in development.
And how are things changing? Obviously, we're recording this December 2022, so the market has been changing recently. It's dipped, and there's a change in the workforce as well, with contractors perhaps not having as much work as they used to, and prices stabilizing a bit more. How are you changing what you do or how you do it based on what's happening in the market?
I'd say what we've changed, what we've noticed, like right now, is I think we're in a period where vendors are beginning to realise that they are going to have to accept less. So I don't think I've ever had as many offers out as I have at the moment. I think I've about 10, 12 offers out on the table at the moment, all pretty low. And I want to try and get a few more out before Christmas. So we're increasing our marketing as well. I genuinely believe next year is going to be a fantastic opportunity to buy. I think now we're sort of in a bit of a period where even investors are like, let's see what happens. So for us, yeah, we want to be at the front of the queue. On the trade point, yeah, we've noticed trades are, we had a few calls of particularly brickies and ground workers sort of really moving for work, whereas 6-9 months ago you couldn't get one to answer the phone, never mind get to site. So yeah, times are changing and you've just got to adapt, but building big margins, offer low, big contingencies. I don't think, but just moving your metrics, isn't it, really? For me.
Yeah. How are you finding then? So obviously, a low offer, kind of what is a low offer compared to if they were already asking too much, a couple of months ago, then that kind of below market offer, if you like, actually might not be that low. It might be kind of bang on. And then how do you compare that with the GDV when it's hard to predict what's going to happen in the next 6 months?
Yeah, so our method would at the moment is taking 20% off the GDV of the current registered prices market value. So, right. For example, we work on a pound per square foot basis.
How much, sorry?
We work on a pound per square foot basis.
Pound per square foot.
We're just stripping 20% off that, sticking 10% on top of our construction costs, and then weighing up, the big thing for development is planning. So we're not planning at the moment, particularly in Liverpool, is particularly difficult.
How long are you having to wait to get the planning through?
I've got one that was on the Wirral last year. That was 10 apartments. That took 18 months. That was well, yeah. So we're not committing to anything to that. We're buying up front. It's all subject to. So yeah, it's just about building big margins in and being sensible. And yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunity, but you just got to cover all your bases. I personally don't think it'll be a huge crash. Again, I've never been through a full one, so probably not the best place to say that. But, yeah.
Yeah, and in terms of the planning, then all of your projects subject to planning, so you're not committing, you're not committing a lot of money at the beginning.
Yeah, so I'll buy with planning. I bought quite a few sites with planning in place.
Okay.
I bought a couple of sites unconditional, which in hindsight I probably wouldn't do again. Obviously the finance costs and stuff can rack up if it's taking 12-18 months to get through plan. And I've bought some stuff exchange nil deposit subject to planning as well. So yeah, I wouldn't buy unconditional again unless there was a huge uplift. Yeah. But yeah, obviously we all learn from our mistakes.
Of course. So and is there anything in particular that you look out for with, you're looking to get planning approved? Are you using any kind of permitted development rights as part of what you're doing, or is it just simply change of use to from residential like C1 to anything else? Or
yeah, no, so it's mainly full applications, change of use, because we do try to increase the footprint where possible. So we will be adding an extension on and stuff like that. Quite large extensions as well. So most of our applications are full applications, and we operate in an area that's a conservation area too. So most of them are full applications. Yeah.
And they're all in the Liverpool area, right?
Liverpool, Sefton, Wirral, yeah.
And how do you find the market at the moment? How's it, in comparison to what you're hearing around the country?
In terms of acquisition, or in terms of sales or rental?
Yeah, just a general, both really.
I always like to make my own mind up on what my experience is rather than what people are saying. I do feel sometimes you can be it can be a bit of a Chinese whispers chain gang reaction of everyone saying the same thing because they've read it in an article or heard someone say it somewhere. So my personal experience at the moment is rental stock is off the scale. It's very, very good.
So rental stock is not just the demand, the prices going up as well.
Demand and prices going up, yeah, definitely on our private stuff. We've got some social stuff which we've got on leases. We've also got some LHA stuff, which is a bit difficult in all honesty because obviously LHA rates aren't moving.
Yeah, that's true.
But interest rates are. So that's a challenge. That's just our experience in rent. In terms of buying stuff, as I said before, we are seeing vendors open to more creative offers as well. If they want the price, then okay, you can have your price, but you'll have to wait for 12, 18 months while we go through planning and de-risking it for us. That's we think that's an opportunity. And then in terms of sales, because we're not really on the open market, we're dealing with sort of wholesale investors, funds. We're not really massively exposed to your first time buyer or anything like that. That's our experience. And I think I speak to agents every day as well, and they're saying there's more properties available. But I think we've lived in a bit of a bubble as well. To be honest, I think it's been really difficult to buy property over the last couple of years, which isn't the norm. So I think it's just a bit of a recalibration.
Yeah. Definitely. And so you say there about vendors, if they're wanting the price that if they're going to hold out for that, then there might have to be a more creative deal. Do you work sort of would you make them an offer of working with them as a joint venture partner? They put in the property and you put in the finance, for example?
Yeah, all of those things when there's less buyers. All of those things are a bit more open. So vendor finance, options, exchange delay completion, partial exchanges and completions. Yeah, I think you can be a lot more creative when there's only one or two in the queue instead of over the last few years, every man and his dog's been in the queue. So again, it's an opportunity. We've got to keep a positive mindset. I think that's the main thing that
the bigger picture, and in the grand scheme of things, we'll be looking back when we're in our 70s, and it'll be just part of the cycle of going through the property market, and here we are, and you have to play the cards that you're dealt, basically. And
100%. It's a cycle and a long-term game. I'm not looking into next year or the year after. I'm looking probably 20, 30 years down the line. So that's not to say that you don't buy right, but it's an up and down cycle.
Yeah. And how do you find that your your education, the fact that you've had so much training yourself, how has that influenced your investing?
Massively. I wouldn't be where we are today without any of it, really, to be honest. Investing in myself and doing training and education it's changed my life, really. It's been
great.
Still doing it as well today. Still going to courses and meetings and stuff like that, because I think it's the catalyst for getting information. And I think I've done a lot of traveling to get information as well. Obviously, based on go to London a lot, Birmingham, where we used to go when we used to mastermind. And people look at like you're crazy because you're going down to Birmingham or London to learn something. But I'll travel to the other side of the world, and it's going to give me a better return on what it's going to cost me time and money to go there. So I think massive.
You've certainly gone down the fast track route.
It's it gives you more tools, gives you tools for times like now where you can use what you've learned and put it to practice in different markets. So massive fan of education and training and learning.
Yeah. And what's next then? You kind of just got the model and you're ploughing on with that, or you mentioned new build before.
Set on where we're heading. So the sort of aim is to deliver 1,000 units in the next 10 years.
1,000 units in 10 years. Wow.
We done about 80 last year, and we should be on track to deliver another 100 next year. So, that's the plan. Keep going. I'm still adding to my portfolio all the time, and yeah, we'll get that to a certain size, and try and get the debts down, pay the debts down. Ride the time. Starting to put more stuff on capital and repayment now as well. So, we don't massively need always need cash flow, but
yeah,
we can afford to sort of pace them down a little bit now as well. So, yeah, the end goal, all the busyness of rent to rent and being a developer and all of this stuff, the end goal is always a portfolio with low debt that I can hand over to my kids. Really, that's the aim.
Yeah, low hassle, low debt. It's a bit of a bell curve, isn't it? At the beginning, you're just all hands on deck, plow through, make it happen, and then obviously you get stuck in with all the developments, and then on the other side, it's how to kind of exit from being in the business to working on it and making it as passive as possible.
Yeah, I don't believe in passive at the moment, in all honesty. But I gave up on that a few years ago, so I just being there taking the blows for now.
Well, certainly when you're doing, you're looking after big chunks of development funds, then you can't be passive. No armchair investing in that one.
Yeah,
but that's why you earn your money, right?
Yeah, and that's the great thing about property. Actually, you can decide to go hell for leather and want to change the world, or you can buy a few properties and sit back and enjoy the cash flow and replace your income. So I think
there really is no limit if you want to go big on that. I remember my days as teaching, and I just had this moment where I could work 24/7 here for like the rest of my life, and I'm just not going to get through that ceiling of the pay grade. It was crazy, where at least you kind of, the more you kind of put in theory, there's more opportunity to get out of it as well.
So that's the great thing about property.
Right. Well, where can people find out more about what you're up to, the developments? I've seen some of them and they look absolutely stunning. So I know you do very nice finishes on a lot of them. What have you got a website, or are you on LinkedIn?
So our website is acceleratedevelopments.co.uk. LinkedIn in my personal name, and Facebook. I mean, next year one of my goals is to focus on social media a bit more, to be honest. We do post the odd picture, but I'm always knee deep in getting stuff done. So next year social media.
I know every now and then you do some investor days as well.
We do investor open days. Sometimes you get more supporter. Bring people around and show them what we're doing and have a chat how we can get involved with us and stuff like that. So I enjoy them actually. I enjoy them. They're good days.
Good. All right then. Well, I'll put the links in the show notes for people if they're interested in coming up to Liverpool and checking out what you're up to, as well as following you on social media next year. We'll be looking out for more posts from you.
Cool.
Oh, well, it's obviously working whatever you're doing, Tom. So don't change it too much.
No, sorry.
Oh, it's been good to chat to you, and thanks very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Okay. And for anyone who is listening and not yet a subscriber to the magazine YPN, your free 30-day link is in the link in the show notes as well. So do check us out in there, and we will see you next time. Take care for now.